Hey YouTube, hey fellow cyclists. Hey, thanks for watching my video on how to convert your hardtail entry-level mountain bike into a gravel or adventure or possibly a cyclocross bike with just a wheel set change. Okay, I discovered this after having a leftover wheel set from my Giant road bike. That was the aluminum stock wheel set. I had upgraded my road bike to carbon wheels, and I had those just sitting around the stock Giant wheel set. And I had bought, a year or two later, I buy this bike just this last spring in April of 20. I bought this Hyper flat bar mountain bike, just a Walmart bike, really. I've done a few upgrades to it, but it's essentially the same 1x9 drivetrain. And I realized after kind of looking it through that the standard, this typical entry-level hardtail bike with front and rear discs, that's critical right there, was built to would allow the road wheel set, disc road wheel set that I was not using to run on this bike, thus lightening the bike greatly by reducing wheel weight and allowing me to run narrower cyclocross tires. And we'll focus on the rims and the wheel sets in just a minute here. But in the meantime, let me put a caliper on the front and rear fork spacing to show you what I mean more precisely. Okay, so the front spacing here is 100 millimeters for the front fork dropouts, and then look at the rear. Okay, the rear spacing is 134, round that up to 135 millimeters, and with a disc, and that is a standard with a 9 millimeter through axle, and that's either bolt-on like it was stock or quick release. I'll show you that in a moment. But that is a standard that many road bikes and mountain bikes and cyclocross bikes and gravel adventure bikes have. So you could do a low-cost conversion, or anybody could, like I did, by just finding a spare set of road wheels or ordering them on Amazon. I'm sure they're common and cheap, to turn your hardtail mountain bike, to lighten it up so it could be used for gravel adventure use. And you'll have a much lighter wheel set. Show you more about that here in just a sec. Okay, here's the stock wheel set that came on this entry-level Hyper 1x9 Explorer mountain bike, and this was just a $250 bike at Walmart. It's one of the better ones, but there's a bunch of them that have this standard. So this is a disc front and rear wheel set, and the axle is 9 millimeters. Okay, now it's a bolt-on axle, no problem. Just means you got to have a wrench if you're going to take your wheels on and off. Not hard to handle that. The good thing is these tires are so tough, you'll probably seldom have a flat, so you won't be taking them on and off a lot. But the spacing matches perfectly. This is the wheel set that came on the bike. So there's your front wheel, your rear wheel with a 9-speed freewheel, which is kind of a unique thing. This bike is the only one I could find that has that. But those wheels are pretty heavyish. They weigh about 1,400 for the front, 1,400 grams for the front wheel bare. Rear is about 1,600 bare. The tires are 2 pounds each. So when I got this bike, I was just thoroughly enjoying it off-road, but then saying, man, I wish I could keep up with my mates who have gravel bikes or ride flat bar adventure bikes at a higher speed. And so I was kind of looking at my bike here and saying, well, shoot, what do I do to try to make this thing faster? And it occurred to me I could possibly run my leftover aluminum stock Giant road wheel set, and it turns out the standard is exactly the same. A 9 millimeter axle. In this case, it's quick release, but no biggie. It works just the same. You just quick release it instead of bolt it. The spacing is the same as came stock on the Hyper. 100 millimeter wide front, 4 inches, and the rear is 135. And I did have to go out and buy a Microshift Advent cassette here because there was no cassette on this wheel, or actually the one that was on here was a 10-speed like my road bike is. But this wheel set saves about 500 grams per each wheel, and it is the tires are a pound each instead of 2 pounds each. And what I'm running, just to let you know, the Continental Speed Ride I'm finding to be a great, nice traction, high speed, all-terrain tire. The AT Ride is even a little more aggressive knobs. You can't feel them though. When you're riding on the pavement, you don't feel that at all. But this wheel set is 9¼ pounds, all inclusive, the whole thing there. And the stock one is 14 pounds. So you're saving about 4.5 pounds to switch out wheel set. And it's funny how it changes the entire character of the bike. With those stock wheels and the big WTB Wolverine tires, which I love, by the way. The bike has a real commanding all-trail feel, and when you want to really hammer hard on a gravel road or go super fast on pavement, as fast as that bike can possibly go, you bolt on the stock wheel set. I'm sorry, said that wrong. Bolt on the aftermarket road wheel set with the cyclocross gravel tires, and you just really go to town. So it's working out good. You could order a set of carbon wheels. That's a cyclocross standard. The 100 and 135 front and rear spacing and the 9mm axle. They get the higher end bikes and they start having 12mm, 10mm through axles that have a bolt. This is not for that kind of crowd. That's a more expensive bike. But on this bike, we've done great, and I'll throw the wheels on there and show you what it looks like with both sets. Alrighty, there's the wheel weight, 3470 grams on this rear stock wheel. So pretty heavy, and I'm sure pretty typical. And by the way, that's just under 8 pounds for that stock rear wheel. That's including the cassette disc. The tire alone weighs 2 pounds on that one. And there is a tube with 2 ounces of sealant inside of it. But here's the reduction in weight that you get with the road wheel set and the lighter gravel kind of tire is 2,400 grams, okay? So that's a weight of about 5.5 pounds inclusive. And that's the whole shooting match right there, including the cassette, the disc, the tube, the sealant, and the tire. Okay, so quite a reduction, 2.5 pounds in terms of a rear wheel weight reduction. That'll make you a lot faster, help you roll easier. Let's look at the fronts. Okay, here's the front stock wheel off the mountain bike, 2560 grams, basically 6 pounds, just tiny bit under 6 pounds. So that's a 6 pound front mountain bike wheel, and the rear is 8. So that's 14 pounds worth of wheels, however you slice it, which isn't bad. I'm sure that's fairly typical. And let's look at the lighter front wheel. Okay, the lighter front road wheel for the cyclocross gravel endeavors is 1860 grams, or about 3.8 pounds. So that compares favorably to a 6 pound front stock mountain wheel. So yeah, this is an amazing improvement, a lightening greatly. And all you need to do is find a road wheel set that would match the spacing of your hardtail mountain bike, and you would be in good shape. Let me mount the wheels and show you what it looks like in both modes. Stay tuned. Okay. All right, here it is in gravel mode with the gravel road wheel set for conversion purposes. I think it looks pretty reasonably muscular. You're not going to look as beefy with your gravel adventure wheel set on there because it's lighter and smaller. It's still 29 inches or 700C, but you've got more spacing here. Of course, you're never going to have the worries about, I don't have enough clearance. You'll have plenty of clearance on a bike like this. So that's one of the advantages of using a hardtail mountain bike for converting to a gravel adventure bike, is the clearance issues that guys with converted road bikes or gravel bikes that can only fit up to, say, a 37C tire. And frankly, I hear complaints from my gravel buddies who say, man, I wish I could fit a 42. And I'm here to tell you the 42s are a dream. These ride and roll so easy and smooth. They go just as fast down the pavement as my 28C Gator Skins do on my road bike. Okay? So in a sec, I'll show it with the mountain wheel set. But that gives you an idea of kind of what it'll look like. And I just weighed the frame set separately. This frame is 21 3/4 pounds. And I know 4 of it comes from the relatively heavy budget suspension fork. But frankly, on this bike, that suspension fork works so well. I'm amazed to see a fork on a $250 bike that is as supple and as forgiving and as probably has 100 millimeters of travel. It's a great fork. So I'm going to keep it for now. I have had my eye on the oil air Chinese forks that I could affordably put on here for about $150. But I'm trying to keep this bike within budget. The idea here is to find out how affordably I can get a converted gravel adventure bike in my garage. Alrighty, and so you got to keep these things in mind, not overdo it. Okay, I'll show it with the mountain wheel set. Okay, I fibbed. I thought I'd give you a view of it sitting on its wheels and not on the bike stand. I'm really happy with the performance of this bike overall. If you can find a Hyper Explorer, I'd recommend you considering it. I got the last one that Walmart sold at the Lufkin, Texas Walmart back in late April, right before the COVID bike shortage hit. So shipments from China slowed down, and therefore the Walmart bike shelves are, or still are, largely empty as of this filming in late June. But I have a feeling there'll be more of these in the pipeline. You could also do this to any of the Schwinn bikes. They've got a lot of entry-level Schwinn 1x9s coming out. I saw the TAF, and I think the Boundary, it might be a 3x8 or something. But this same axle standard and road bike conversion wheel set idea would probably still work. The main thing is just measure your spacing, and you'll need to have disc front and rear, and then you could possibly do this. And I'd recommend you look for a road wheel set. Talk to any of the road bike guys you know. They might, if they upgraded to carbon wheels, they've almost for sure got their aluminum wheel set just hanging around their garage gathering dust like I did. And look on Craigslist or go to Amazon and just look for a 100 front, 135 rear disc, quick release or bolt-on. You probably will only find quick release in aftermarket wheel sets. The bolt-on stuff is pretty much limited to mountain bikes as they come budget from discount big box stores like Academy or Walmart or maybe direct from Amazon or something like that. Okay, so that's how I think it looks pretty good. It looks reasonably beefy, and it rides absolutely fabulous, very, very fast. I'll be able to keep up with guys nicely on this, I quite believe. All right, I'll show it in mountain mode in a sec. All righty, there we go. There's mountain mode right there. Oops, I got my cranks in the wrong position. Sorry about that. You know you're a serious bike geek when stuff like that bothers you. Anyhow, yeah, this gives it a whole different character. Riding the bike feels like a completely different bike. And these WTB 2.2 tires are probably about the biggest tire you're going to fit. The main limiting factor being the chainstay at the bottom bracket. And that is a great tire, by the way. I got them from Nash Bar a few years back, about 3 years ago, on some incredible $25 each sale. But these tires are very supple. They're actually very efficient on the road. I've taken these on some 25-mile road rides on this bike. And you definitely sacrifice some efficiency just due to their weight, but they do roll nicely, even on asphalt, if you're forced to ride on asphalt. And you can see it looks much more like a motorcycle this way. And there you have it. That's how you can run a affordable, reasonable conversion on your hardtail mountain bike converted into a gravel adventure bike. Any questions, please ask them in the comments below. I'll endeavor to add in what I can. Look at my other video for some close-up stuff on this bike itself. If you're a Hyper bike owner or you want some tips for converting, upgrading your entry-level mountain bike, I'll highlight some of that stuff on the other video. Thanks a lot for watching, y'all. Take care, and God bless. Keep riding safe.